I'm told that you have some 30 slots for the security services to bring in some 30 people.
It's a very wicked lie.
So you've not been given any slots?
Cooked in the minority leader's office just to court public disaffection for members of parliament belonging to the MPP side.
Hello there, and welcome to another episode of the Lowdown here on GhanaWeb TV. We're up on the hill at Pediase and we're having a conversation with the Member of Parliament for Impreso, Davis Ansah Opoku. He's popularly known as OPK. We want to talk about a number of issues pertaining to the current limited voter registration, as well as some of his work in Parliament. My name is Echi Atiso. I'm sitting in for your regular host, Daniel Odu. Welcome. Honorable, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Echi.
We've had to drag you out of your recovery for this. But how are you doing?
Oh, I can only thank God. I think that they've shown me a lot of mercy.
Okay.
And it is well.
It is well indeed.
Yes.
And so you are a member of Parliament.
Yes.
First of all, there are a lot of people who actually think that being an MP is a lucrative thing. Is it such a walk in a park as it is? Is that how being an MP is?
I think that is one of the misconceptions in town, and I have always argued that it's important for instance, the Public Affairs Unit of Parliament to engage in more sensitization. I mean, the fact that being an MP does not mean that you are well-to-do. Being an MP for me is just a calling. It's service to your community, it's service to humanity. It's getting in there and making sure that policies and programs of government is well implemented, and also, I mean, our primary responsibility, of course, making laws and having oversight responsibility over the executive. And that is what MPs do. But I think in Ghana, when people see you driving maybe Land Cruiser,
which is a big conversation around all the time,
yes, they conclude that you are well-to-do. But I can tell you.
But are you not well-to-do?
No.
MPs are, okay. It looks like it's the kind of job everyone wants to go into these days.
I doubt if it's the kind of job that people want to go into. I mean, but it's a job that once you get your head into, it's difficult to come out unless probably maybe the people vote you out. Because I've maintained that if you're a professor at Legon and you were to go on retirement, I mean, you can go work in other places. You can establish your own company. You can work with NGOs. But it's difficult for a member of parliament to be doing that. I mean, it's quite difficult. Maybe because you are politically tainted, so people would not want to engage you, I mean, for fear of being victimized by your political opponents. So that for me is a very worrying trend that we need to reverse.
Okay.
It is not lucrative, but of course, I mean, having the opportunity to represent a whole constituency, it's also refreshing. I mean, it's a bit rewarding for you, for your family, for your community, everybody. I mean, they see you as the leader or the mouthpiece of the people. So that for me is what motivates some of us to get involved and always fight to represent. I've always maintained that God has a way of positioning everybody in life. And once God says that you should come and be the advocate for a select group of people, you should not frown on it. I mean, you should listen to the voice of God and go in there to do your bit. And that for me is the most motivation. And that is why even in difficult moments, you still want to push harder and be seen as serving your constituents.
I know you mentioned that it's supposed to be a calling and all of that, but we know the conversation lately where there's been a lot of talk about people who've been paying to get into parliament. The issue about money is going around. Is this not a worrying trend, especially when it's supposed to be a calling and a job that's supposed to allow for people to represent? Is that not something that we should all be concerned about?
Well, we should be concerned, but I've always said that in any enterprise, I mean, especially in politics, there are three things that matter. One is that you need to have a good message. Two, you need to have some bit of machinery on the ground that works well for you. And you cannot rule out the issue of money. I mean, money is virtually everything now. I mean, moving with a fleet of cars, you need fuel to fuel them. For instance, in my constituency, if you ask somebody from New Jerusalem to come to my constituency capital, it virtually will cost the person some 200 Ghana cedis in and out. I mean, more than.
Within the same constituency?
Within the same constituency.
Okay.
And so it becomes a bit difficult trying to transport all these persons to your constituency and saying that you will not foot their bill. Okay. It's a bit difficult trying to do. So there are the three things in politics: the money, the machinery, and the message. I mean, if you fail one, I think you have failed all three. And it's always important for you to consider that. In the US, one's ability to raise funds is an indication that the campaign has traction. So for instance, presently, between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, you realize that I think Trump is raising a lot more money. Yes. And that is why people can conclude that if care is not taken, Trump may come back as president of the United States again. Because, I mean, once people are contributing to your campaign, then it means that it shows some level of acceptability. And if you're in Ghana and you're a member of parliament or you want to seek to lead a group, you should have the ability to mobilize. You should have the ability to sell your vision to people, for people to buy into your vision. And once you succeed in doing that, they can support you in terms of resources, money-wise, vehicle-wise, and everything.
So it's just a situation of rubbing each other's hands, more or less. Is that what it is?
It is not. It is not. There are 275 seats in parliament. At every time, the 275 seats must be filled. I mean, and you cannot leave that to people who are rich. I am not rich, but I'm a member of parliament. You cannot leave that to people who are rich. Maybe people who are rich do not have the capabilities to want to be policy implementers or to want to be lawmakers. But people who are rich may want to invest in you so that you go there and make laws to shape society. So for me, it's not an issue of, I mean, it's people, when people invest in you, they believe that when you go out there, you can do something better. That's why they invest their time and everything in you.
All right. Let's go to your work in Parliament. You are on a number of committees, mostly the public accounts, works and housing. But I want us to speak more about issues to do with the Works and Housing Committee. There's been a lot of conversations. In fact, people are worried that the issues of housing and how expensive it is to even build or even own a house today. What's your work like? I'm talking about the committee in terms of ensuring that people's fears and all the concerns people have with regards to the housing industry or sector in this country is actually resolved so that people can easily have to be able to own their own houses and things like that. What kind of policies are you working on in that regard?
Yes, so issues of housing are quite critical. I mean, if you do not have a place of abode, it becomes quite difficult and national security concern. But you would agree with me that housing in itself is a bit expensive in our country. I mean, somebody can have $300,000, and the house that the person is able to buy in the US will not be same in Ghana. So it becomes quite expensive. I mean, putting up a house in Ghana or renting a house in Ghana, especially when landlords are requesting for 2 years rent advance. But in other jurisdictions, you just do a month or two and you are given the keys to be in your room. So it goes a long way to affect the youth. I mean, it affects people who have just completed university and would want a place to sleep. That is why from our committee, we've been working hard, especially with the new rent bill. I mean, where we are looking at least ensuring that maximum 6 months is what landlords should take.
But is that going to work? Because we've had this conversation before. It's been on and on. Is it going to be implemented? Yeah,
it ought to be implemented. It ought to be implemented. So that is why, for instance, government needed to introduce a housing scheme where some people are paid rent in advance so that, I mean, every month if their salaries come, it is deducted from source. These are some of the policies that have gone on, which we've handled from the committee level. I mean, we are pushing government to invest more in affordable housing units. So in recent times, the new Minister for Works and Housing is doing a lot of activities in that sector. I mean, he wants to turn around Saglemi. He wants to engage in TDC housing, TDC to put out a lot of affordable housing just to ensure that houses are a bit affordable, especially to young people who have just completed university or people who have very smaller families and all of that.
The Saglemi issue is a big one. It's been on for many years.
Yes.
What's actually the problem with getting Saglemi back on track so that it can be habitable?
Now, the problem with Saglemi is that, yes, you want it to be affordable. But now, if you do the cost per each housing unit, you realize that you are now shifting from the affordability to a more expensive facility, which defeats the policy that underpins or that supports this whole Saglemi structure. And so I've seen some moves by the minister, and I am hoping that we get a bit, the investment that comes in also looks at affordability, especially for young Ghanaians. That for me, I think that I'm in parliament because of the youth, because I'm young. So everything that I say, I consider the youth. And they are the larger population. So affordability is key, and looking at the monies that have been pumped into Saglemi and where we have gotten into, some people somewhere did not do their work right.
But is it not also because the roadmap to getting the place on track and making it more affordable is because we left it for a long time without addressing the issues per se? Don't you agree with that?
Well, you might have left it for a long time, but mind you, these are facilities, loan facilities that you're going to take. And if the facility is unable to complete the building, it becomes a bit challenging. I mean, so for me, let's see how the minister handles it. And I'm very sure he's competent enough to handle these things.
All right. We'll just take a quick break. This is still the Lowdown here on GhanaWeb TV. When we return, OPK is also one of the members of parliament who actually pushed for what we know today as the E-Levy. We'll talk about that as well as some other issues. Don't go away. My guest is the Member of Parliament for Impriso, Davis Ansah Opoku, OPK. Now, Honorable, the controversial E-Levy. I know you're one of the members of Parliament who...
Almighty E-Levy.
Almighty. Well, that's the tag we've given to it now. Now it's in force. We're actually paying E-Levy. And there are people who have actually said that the time is over. We should cancel E-Levy. Even the Vice President, also the flag bearer of the NPP, has been talking about the reversal of the E-Levy should he become president, possibly in 2025. Looking at the time then and now, what would you say? Would you say your campaign is still something you stand with, that we should tax electronically as we're doing now? Is this something that you are okay with now? We're still taxing. Are we okay?
Well, so for every policy that you bring, there are objectives that you seek to achieve. I mean, there are outcomes, expected outcomes. E-Levy came at a time when our economy was struggling. And the government needed to introduce some taxes that would cushion our local economy, especially if you were to look at the deficit, I mean, in terms of what we generate in revenue against our expenditure, you will realize that we needed to do something, and that is why, for us, at the time, we were convinced that we needed some form of levy to cushion the economy. But I've also heard arguments that, yes, the E-Levy in itself, I think because of the issues that surrounded the E-Levy, we really did not achieve our intended targets. I mean, in terms of revenue expectations from E-Levy, I think we fell short of it. And that is why I think Dr. Bawumia is talking about scrapping E-Levy entirely when he becomes president. But we cannot also say that the E-Levy has not come to help. It has. But just that probably maybe it has
outlived
its relevance.
So you think that it's okay to cancel it now, not wait until a new president comes and then he goes through all the long processes of actually wanting to take it off? Is it not time to actually say, okay, enough of the E-Levy?
Well, I mean, yes. Are some revenues coming in? Yes. Are they beneficial to the society? Yes. Do we need those revenues now? Yes, I think we do. Dr. Bawumia is also coming in with his own vision when elected as president, and he thinks that when he comes, he's going to scrap E-Levy. That, for me, it's a welcoming news, especially when you look at the acceptability of E-Levy. I mean, during the implementation stage, there has not been any tax or levy that has been introduced that people are happy about. I mean, even at church, but for faith, if you are paying your tithes, you always would think about it. In your home, you're a man. I mean, if your wife prepares the meals, you will eat. And when you are taking out chop money, you complain. Because taking monies out of your pocket is not an easy thing to do. So taxing people, you need very compelling reasons why you would want to tax them. And if you're a government, it is not easy to implement new taxes because it makes you a bit unpopular. But, I mean, you are there not to do the niceties. You are there to take very bold decisions, to take very strong policies, implement very strong policies that will ensure that there's some bit of equity in the system. That will ensure that, I mean, there's efficiency in how institutions are run. There's, I mean, even in the distribution of wealth, I mean, how we ensure that the less privileged in society also get some opportunities in government. So for instance, one policy that government has implemented, the free SHS, if you look at the revenue that goes into the monies that we are paying into free SHS, you certainly would need something to cushion it. And so for me, yes, pushing something like E-Levy brought us a lot of problems. I mean, Ghanaians weren't happy.
And they still aren't actually.
Yes,
a lot who are still not happy with it.
I know. I mean, it's affected mobile money transactions in Ghana.
Yeah.
First, we used to have a lot of this space-to-space young people, mobile money vendors, and there's a bit of reduction in that space because the Ghanaian wouldn't want to be paying more for that. There's been a lot of reforms, especially capping the service charge or capping the monies that you pay. So if you are sending 10,000, same as sending 1,000 cedis and all of that. But like I said, I mean, we need to sit down, think through it. If it's important, is needed that we scrap it, let's go ahead and scrap it.
So you'll go with a move to actually scrap it, even now?
Well, there has to be reasons. I mean, if you want to scrap a policy, you will want to give me reasons why you want to scrap a policy. I need to go to Parliament and argue it out. But it will be based on what the executive bring. So if the executive wants to scrap it, what is it that they are bringing? I mean, what is it that they are doing to ensure that there's that balance in terms of what will generate revenue and what we spend as a people?
Okay. I'm told that you have some 30 slots for the security services to bring in some 30 people, you plus all the other NPP parliamentary candidates. The minority leader is the one saying this.
That is a very wicked lie. It's a very wicked lie.
So you've not been given any slots?
Cooked in the minority leader's office just to court public disaffection for members of parliament belonging to the MPP side.
There's no truth to this at all? There's no truth at all?
Members of parliament, 138 members of parliament on the majority side, have not been given slots.
So where is this? You say it's from his office. He's cooked it?
Oh, I mean, he's struggling to defend. I was with Agaga on Joy FM, and he was asked about it, that we just need evidence. They don't have any evidence. It's just a propaganda brewed just to win political power. Because in my constituency, this morning, I've had lots of calls. I mean, people want slots, 30, you have been given 30 slots.
So that means even your constituents have heard about this?
Everybody seems to have. I mean, for a minority leader to organize a press conference and make such claims should tell you that it will go a bit far. I mean,
and the Minister for the Interior, Henry Korte, has also said that it is a lie, but he also says there are people within the minority side who have also had the benefits of getting people into some of these services. And he actually threatened that if they dare him, he would mention names. So it looks like there is some truth hidden in there. Otherwise, why would the minister also be saying this like that?
But maybe I'm waiting for my opportunity then.
Okay.
I'm just waiting for my opportunity. But from where I sit, I've not been given 30 slots.
So this is just one of those things around?
It's propaganda. I mean, this used to work in the 96, in the 2000s, where you just sit somewhere in your bedroom, churn out these wicked lies, all aimed at scoring cheap political points. So it's unfortunate that it came from my good friend at Forsen, Doctor. But he said it. We have also told the world our story, that it is not true. If it is true, it needs to bring evidence.
Okay.
Maybe it was the case when the NDC was in power. Election year, they would give their MPs 30 slots, 30 slots, 30 slots. Yesterday, I was saying that my kids are young. I'm not too sure any of my kids would want to go to police or And granted, I'm giving 30 slots. Who am I going to give to? I'm just going to give to my constituents. But if you have not received 30 slots, that means that I've not gotten it.
So if something like that came, you would take it?
Why not? If I'm here and you come and tell me that you have 30 slots for people in my constituencies who qualify and that I should bring them to the police.
But is that not a worrying analogy or a trend? If MPs can be given such a thing when on a daily many people try to get into the services. And we know that
it's not the MP who is getting into the service. It is the many people.
But that's out of privilege. You would be given that.
It's the many people who want to enter into the service that get opportunities, even if the MP is giving. But like I said, the MP has not been given.
Okay.
The MP has not been given. Because now there's a portal, there's a system where you have to apply. And nobody can manipulate that, unless there's a way that people manipulate it. I should be told, and I'm going to follow suit. Because I also want my constituents to enter into police. I want them to come back wearing fire service uniform. I want them to be wearing the green immigration uniforms. I want something better for them. It's employment. So once they get employed, I'm happy. But I've not been given such slots. And these are wicked lies that unfortunately came from the minority leader. And I think that all Ghanaians, some level of apology, some form of apology, needs to apologize.
Away from that, now, Kissie Jaben, the special prosecutor,
yes,
he's been dragged to the Chief Justice office. This is supposed to be someone who is supposed to fight corruption.
Yeah.
What do you make about this whole petition that supposedly came from his predecessor, who is Martin Amedu?
Well, I think that there are laws in our land. The Office of the Special Prosecutor, for me, is an institution where, corruption is tackled. And so if issues of corruption are tagged to such an office, it's important that everybody is given an opportunity to come out there and also state their, and that is why when the president receives the petition, he needs to forward it to the Chief Justice to determine the prima facie. And in doing so, the person who is involved will be written to for him to give a response on the allegations. But if you look at the issues raised by Martin Amedu, that he wrote to the office for some documents and he was denied those documents. So the special prosecutor should be removed just based on that. The special prosecutor's office is also a national security installation. If the special prosecutor goes to purchase vehicles and you want documents to that effect, there should be a way you go about it. You cannot just come out there and expose everything that is being done in that space.
But why did the president have to forward this one in particular? I'm just thinking, there are a number of petitions that could come to the table of the president. Does this not tie into assertions by some people that maybe the president actually even wants Kissie Jaben out?
I don't think so. The president is only following a constitutionally laid down procedure. And, the president is not clothed with the powers to determine whether there's a prima facie or not. It is with the Chief Justice. And once they determine that, then a process will start. So it is not the president that determines that. The president only receives such petition and is mandated to forward same to the Chief Justice.
All right, just quickly before we go, this parliament is a hang parliament, yes. A very unique one, yes. Very, very unique. How do you assess the last 4 years and the work that you've done as a hang parliament with all the dynamics, 137, 138, sometimes it's all those dynamics? What would be your assessment?
Well, it's been tough, but it's been a great learning opportunity. Getting to tolerate each other. In the early stages, it was not easy. It gets to a point where it becomes heated. But now, if you look at what happens in the House, we've learned to tolerate each other. Although there may be one or two heated arguments here and there. But we've learned to tolerate each other. And for me, that is how we should live as a people. That's how we should live as a people. So it's a great learning curve. I mean, though tough, especially if you find yourself, I mean, as being a member of the executive who would want your programs to be quickly.
Always have your way.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. And I think that our speaker has also done a good job. And he also deserves some commendation. The way he's been able to manage the House till now, you need some level of experience. And for him, sitting in that House since 1992, he gives him that added advantage. And I think he's done a good job.
Are you returning to Parliament in the 9th Parliament?
I will, God willing.
You have any projections how well you do or not? You're not threatened by the other parties like the NDC?
No, I am. You mean in the election?
Yes, in the elections, in your constituency.
I'm not taking anything for granted, but I'm very hopeful that what we have done in the last 3.5 years is one that the people appreciate. A leadership that listens, a leadership that is closer to them, and a leadership that forces and pushes for things that are of benefit to the people. And for me, that's what they want. I mean, chiefs will call you, you get to talk to them. Market women will call you, you get to talk to them. Religious leaders will call you, you get to talk to them. The youth, they are calling you, you get to talk to them. So that is that kind of leadership that they want. And I am excited. I'm always grateful to the people of Impriso for electing me as a member of Parliament. And I know that by the grace of God, they will return me to Parliament again.
Davis Ansa Opokues.
OPK.
OPK.
Yes.
Member of Parliament for Impriso. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For speaking to us.
Thank you for this great opportunity.
Really appreciate it. And all the best as we go into the elections. Once again, this has been the Lowdown here on GhanaWeb TV. My name is Echi Atiso. I sat in for your regular host, Daniel Odro. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's GhanaWeb TV. And also like and click on the notification bar. Until another time, be safe.